Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, presented by T.A. Forsberg and Wagoner Financial. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
All right, so we've got Dégagé Ministries. They provide emergency empowerment and engagement services to people experiencing homelessness and poverty in Grand Rapids. Here to discuss the services provided by Dégagé and the new housing program they've just launched is its Executive Director, Thelma Ensink. Welcome to the show, Thelma.
Thanks so much for having me, Chris. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. I read this story and I needed to tell it. It sounds like you're doing really amazing work, and I'm excited to get started. So tell us about Dégagé as an organization, kind of when and why and by whom was Dégagé founded?
Yeah, sure. So Dégagé is a French word. It means be at ease, and it started in 1967. Two gentlemen, Eric Britcher and Rich Bigelow, decided to start this coffee house for college students right downtown Grand Rapids. And so for a few years, it served college students in the area. They'd come in, have some coffee, play some music. And then over the years, the neighborhood residents started coming into the space, and the college students sort of went in a different direction. And so Dégagé adapted to start to provide some hygiene products for individuals downtown, and eventually started serving meals, and then started providing showers. And it moved a couple of times and now is located in the Hartside district of Grand Rapids, and over the years added shelter for women, added social enterprise business, just added a lot of resources, and sort of morphed to serve the unhoused in downtown Grand Rapids. So it had a very different origin story, but it also has sort of kept to its origin in the sense that we're still serving coffee, that it's still a community center. It's still a place where people come and get together and laugh and just share great conversation.
Makes sense. Okay. So, that's a great history. Can you explain the depth and breadth of the services that you provide today?
Yeah, so our emergency services include meals. Monday through Friday, we serve 3 meals a day to the community. And then we also are a warming center and a cooling center on those really hot and cold days of the year, especially for the unhoused and unsheltered. We provide showers every day for our unsheltered neighbors. And then we have an overnight emergency shelter for women. We're the only emergency shelter for women in Grand Rapids. And then our empowerment services include employment. So we have a workforce development program that employs individuals both internally in our social enterprise businesses, our bakery and our thrift shop, as well as externally, just supporting people as they secure jobs by helping them build resumes, practice interviews, get bus passes to get to work, get their work uniforms if they need that. We have an ID office that's really important, helping people retrieve their vital records if they've lost them, and then keeping a copy of it for them. So in case they lose it on the streets, they're able to come back and get those. Last year, we retrieved 840 IDs for people.
Wow.
And then lastly, our engagement services. This is our volunteer opportunities. We have a lot of volunteers that are coming in from the community, both churches and other community members. And then our educational and advocacy programs, teaching individuals about the unhoused, about the housing crisis in Kent County, and asking them to join us in advocating for the unhoused. So that's our triple E's, engagement, emergency, and empowerment services.
Fantastic. And now you talk a lot about City of Grand Rapids. Does your outreach extend beyond the city limits, or how wide can your footprint really accommodate?
Yeah, so we're in the heart of Grand Rapids, Hartside District, right downtown. And so many of the people who come to us for services are from Grand Rapids. But, there's not a lot of services in the suburbs or in our more rural areas. So we have people coming in from all over Kent County. Last year, we served 3,528 unique individuals. But we're also starting to see more and more people coming from around the state. There's not great services in a lot of different places around our state. So individuals will get on buses and come to Grand Rapids, maybe seeking out a relative or just hearing that services are available here. So we really have a wider reach than the downtown Grand Rapids area.
And that's great. I'm sure you're not lacking for clientele, unfortunately, but it's nice that you're there doing great stuff. Talk about your physical presence. Talk about like your brick and mortar facilities. What kind of assets do you own to provide this mission?
Yeah, so we're grateful. We just had a large expansion over the last couple of years because we were really busting at the seams. We're in a really old downtown historic building. It used to be an old moose lodge built in 1928. It's got four stories. And then a couple of years ago, we were able to connect to a couple of other historic buildings behind us, an old carriage house, an old gas station. And so now we're up to about 25,000 square feet. And that space, we use every inch. I just gave a tour the other day, and someone's like, you use every inch of the building. And that's true. When we broke ground in 2020, at the end of 2020, we had 33 women in shelter, and today we welcome over 125 into shelter. So we've had to use offices and different spaces and convert them to provide more shelter space, convert spaces to provide more dining space. We utilize that building well. And then we also just opened a second building just a block away for our complex care housing program. And I know you and I are going to talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. So two big buildings downtown.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. I'm going to pause and thank one of our great sponsors. Are you ready to make smart financial decisions? Wagner Financial offers a proven process for financial transformation, empowering individuals at all stages. Whether you're just starting out, nearing retirement, or anywhere in between, stop feeling unsure about your financial path. Wagner Financial can help you undergo a financial transformation. Schedule a consultation to discuss your individual needs and discover how Wagner Financial can guide you through this transformation. Visit wagner-financial.com or call 517-853-3367. So I got to tell you, you've got these assets, you've got all these resources, and not just the resources, but all of these volunteers and people doing all of this work for such a great cause. It usually takes partnerships to manage kind of a mission like this. Who do you collaborate with in order to do the work that you need to do?
Yeah, we're incredibly blessed to be in a community where we have so many partners engaged in the work. So we work really closely with the other providers for the unhoused. We work closely with Mel Trotter Ministries, who serves our unhoused men in the community. We work closely with Family Promise, who serves our families, AYA, who serves our youth. And then we really work closely with our health partners because being unhoused, experiencing homelessness is really a health crisis. And so we work with Trinity Health Grand Rapids, who's just a block away from us. That's a hospital that's so near to dear to us. And then Cherry Health Services as well. And many of our mental health providers, so our community mental health provider, which is Network 180, Pine Rest, and Arbor Circle as well. So we just have a lot of partners that help us do this work.
Got it. Okay. And as far as the patrons, the folks that need your services, do they just tend to show up, or do they get referred by someone in the, maybe a medical industry, or how do they initially engage with you when they have a need?
Yeah, so every person that wants or needs our services come to us in a different way. So some might just call 211 and be referred to us, and they'll, then take a bus or be dropped off at our doors. Some will be at the hospital and then get referred to us, or be at a different partner and then be referred to us. So everyone finds their way to our door in a different way, but they find their way. And, word of mouth is really strong, too, in this community. Right.
Yeah, no question. It is. And you have a $2 voucher program. In my sleuthing as I prepared for this interview, I saw that and thought that was fascinating. Can you share what it is and why it's important?
Yeah, it's something that's really near and dear to our hearts. So we believe strongly in not practicing toxic charity. We will not do for the poor what the poor can do for themselves. And so what we want to make sure is that everyone feels like they still have that dignity and respect that they're a customer, that they can purchase things. So we offer a variety of just short, 10-minute jobs that can be done around the building or outside. Maybe it's sweeping and mopping, maybe it's taking out the trash, maybe it's helping in our kitchen. But those short jobs then can earn somebody a voucher, and they can accumulate those vouchers and use them in our thrift store. They can get a haircut. They can pay for their IDs with it. They can buy, extra items in our kitchen. And so it just gives somebody that currency to be able to purchase things for themselves.
That's fantastic. It's innovative, too. How long have you been doing that?
Dégagé has been doing that for a long time.
Really? Okay.
Probably over 20 years. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. And I always ask about results. How do you measure the output of your services? Do you have any statistics to share, or how your organization has benefited the community directly?
Yeah. So we'd love to work ourselves out of a job, right?
Yeah.
It's really difficult to see the numbers of people who are unhoused continue to grow, especially with our housing crisis in Kent County. So we measure our impact by how many individuals we get housed every single year. So last year we had 627 unique individuals seek shelter with us, overnight emergency shelter. And by the end of the year, 517 of those 627 were resolved, no longer experiencing homelessness.
Wow.
We try to get everybody resolved in 90 days or less if we can. And so really what we're left with at the end of the year is just that small group of individuals that we know from national statistics are experiencing chronic homelessness. And even that piece of data we've really dug into and said, okay, why are these individuals experiencing chronic homelessness, and what can we do about that statistic? And that's how our, complex housing program got launched as well. But yeah, we served, probably about 80,000 meals last year, retrieved 840 IDs. We served 266 people in our work program. So, yeah, we're making a big impact, and just, like I said, trying to work ourselves out of a job. That'd be great.
No kidding. Well, it seems like an interesting place to pause for another quick sponsor read, because it's all about housing. So we need a place to call home. Chris Silker of Keller Williams Advantage and Team offers the expertise that you're looking for. He's helped clients navigate the complicated world of real estate in mid-Michigan for over 10 years, providing the best information possible at the right time to empower the best decisions. Whether you're a first-time home buyer looking for a local expert to give you a path from point A to point B, or if you're searching for an income property in the competitive Lansing market, right-sizing your life, or searching for your dream home, Chris Silker and the Advantage and Team is the name to trust in Greater Lansing real estate. Visit advantageandteam.kw.com or call Chris Silker at 517-242-9251 today to find the home of your dreams. So now let's talk specifically about this new project you've got, the Complex Care Housing Program. Now, that's a new facility for you. Is that correct?
It is. So this really came together quickly over maybe just 6 months.
Wow.
We, like I said, have noticed that there are individuals that are just not moving forward, right? There's a small number of women that stay with us year to year in shelter. Even when we help them get housing, they don't stay housed. They come back to shelter. And so we asked ourselves, what does this group of women really have in common? And what we found was that many of them had significant mental health diagnoses, most often schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. Many of them also had concurrent substance use disorder. And so they don't stay housed because they will, have some kind of conflict with the landlord or unable to pay the rent. And so what we did is we looked at models across the country that were serving this acute or high needs or complex care population. And we noticed there were a couple of them in California that have shown some really great success. And so we've patterned this particular project after those models. This is the first one in Michigan. And so we're doing quite a bit of research as we're in our first year. But we just opened it in January of this past year. We moved 25 residents in on January 25, and that's our capacity. So we're completely
25.
Full. Yes, and we're just 3 months into the program, but we're still 100% housed, which is the longest that this group of women have been housed in a very, very long time. And we have wraparound services at the facility every single day. So place-based preventative health care, we have mental health care on site, we have advocates on site to walk alongside of the residents. So it's some really intense support services but we're able to keep these individuals housed. And so we're really excited about what this will not only do for the 25 residents that are there, but what this will do just for our research and our understanding of how we can best house these individuals.
So that model, I had some follow-up questions that you already answered, which is awesome. So the model that you borrowed from California that seems to be effective, it seems like that's mostly those wraparound services, right? Because there are shelters that exist where people can go if they need to be housed, but it seems like this is more hands-on and I guess prevention and kind of sustainability healthcare to try to get them stabilized.
Yes, shelters, are really just emergency services. It's
right.
Not the way that you want someone to live long term. And so this is an actual apartment building. Individuals have their own room and bathroom, so they're really living independently, but with a lot of support. So they're finally able to call a place home. They're finally able to, make some of their own meals with some support. They're able to, congregate as neighbors and do activities together. So it really is restoring that dignity and that hope of having your own place, but also having the level of support that you need.
Got it. Well, all of this must take an army of people to do, and honestly, a pretty significant corpus of money to make it all happen. So, what is your call to action to our listeners? Are there ways that people can volunteer and donate and, to help this cause?
Yes. So Dégagé Ministries only receives about 15% of our funding from government funding. The rest all comes from individuals and churches and, businesses that support us. So it's really important that we have that financial support so that we can continue to do this work. So you can go to our website at dégagéministries.org and find ways to support us there. But we also need people's time and gifts. We have retired social workers that will come in and help be advocates for individuals. We have people who will work in our bakery and our thrift store alongside of our patrons. We have volunteers that will work at our hygiene desk or help serve meals. So our volunteers are really important to us as well, and it is such a great experience. Volunteering in our building is a joy. We often hear from our volunteers that they feel more blessed than the people that they serve. So so there's a variety of ways to support us, and I think also just follow us on social media and, go to our website and continue to learn more about homelessness. There's so many stereotypes and misunderstandings. And so the other thing we just want our community to do is to keep learning with us.
Makes a lot of sense. And so Dégagé Ministries, for those trying to catch that, it's DEGAGE Ministries. And is it .org or .com?
.org. You got it.
.org. All right. Perfect. I'm telling you, it just seems like in this kind of post-pandemic world, people are looking for places to put their time and their resources to help those less fortunate. And everything you're telling us, if you're in West Michigan, this is an organization it seems like you need to get involved with. So that we've been speaking with the Executive Director of Dégagé Ministries, Thelma Ensink. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story with us today, Thelma.
Thanks so much for having me, Chris. I appreciate the opportunity to share.
Absolutely. And I'd love to give a final shout out to my loyal sponsors, Forsberg Real Estate, Wagoner Financial, Triterra Environmental, Good Marketing, the attorneys at Foster Swift, and Keller Williams Advantage and Team. These are fantastic people worth the call. And if you found this show as a one-off, I remind you to follow and subscribe to Michigan Reimagined on YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and pretty much anywhere else you find your podcasts. This is Chris Buck with Michigan Reimagined. Thanks for joining me today.